Throughout history, certain individuals have stood as towering beacons of inspiration, leaving an indelible mark that transcends their lifetimes. Among these remarkable figures stands Marcus Garvey, a name synonymous with courage, vision, and an unwavering belief in the potential of the African diaspora. His life embodied the extraordinary. His mission resonated as a message of hope, and his absence, an irreplaceable void that leaves us yearning for a future that might never come to pass. However, as we reflect on the impact he made on the world, we find ourselves compelled to consider a thought-provoking question. Are we ever going to witness another Marcus Garvey? Stick around as we embark on this captivating adventure, unraveling Marcus Garvey's unmatched legacy. On this exciting episode of the People Journals, we will explore why Marcus Garvey remains a unique figure, his legacy serving as both a wellspring of inspiration and a reminder that we might never witness another person of his caliber again. Before we continue, PLS help us grow this channel by clicking on the subscribe button below so we can reach out to more people. And don't forget to click on the notification bell so you will be the first to get updated on our upcoming exciting videos. Thank you for joining us once again. Marcus Mosiah Garvey was born on August 17, 1887, in St. Ann's Bay, Jamaica, to Marcus Garvey Sr. and Sarah Jane Richards. His father, a stonemason, and his mother, a household servant, had 11 children, but only Marcus and one other sibling survived into adulthood. Garvey attended school in Jamaica until the age of 14, when he left St. Ann's Bay for Kingston, the nation's capital. In Kingston, he began working as an apprentice in a print shop. It was during his school years in Jamaica that he first encountered racism, primarily from white teachers. Garvey's marital life included 2 marriages. His first marriage was to Amy Ashwood, a fellow activist in the Universal Negro Improvement Association, but this union ended in divorce in 1922. Later in the same year, he married Amy Jacques, who was also deeply involved in social causes. Together they had 2 sons, Marcus Mosiah Garvey III and Julius Winston Garvey. While employed in the print shop, Garvey became engaged in the labor union representing print tradesmen in Kingston. This early involvement in labor issues would lay the foundation for his later activism and leadership in the civil rights movement. Subsequently, Garvey's journey led him to Central America, where he had family ties, before he made his way to London in 1912. During his time in the United Kingdom, he enrolled at the University of London's Birkbeck College, where he studied law and philosophy. Furthermore, he actively contributed to a Pan-Africanist publication. He assumed a prominent role in organizing and participating in debates at Hyde Park's iconic Speaker's Corner, a renowned hub for public discourse and debate that remains significant in London to this day. After spending 2 years in London, during which he gained access to educational opportunities that might have been denied to him in the Americas due to racial discrimination, Garvey returned to Jamaica. It was during this period that he initiated the establishment of the Universal Negro Improvement Association in 1914. However, in 1916, Garvey boarded a ship heading to the United States with the intention of conducting an ambitious lecture tour, leveraging his captivating and dynamic public speaking skills. Upon arriving, he made New York City his new home, delivering his first speech at St. Mark's Church before embarking on an extensive speaking tour spanning 38 cities. To support himself financially, he also took up employment at a print shop. While in New York, he authored The Declaration of Rights of the Negro Peoples of the World, which was ratified at the convention of the Universal Negro Improvement Association at Madison Square Garden in 1920. It was during this meeting that Garvey was also elected Provisional President of Africa. During his lectures, Garvey often expressed his perspective on the rights of African Americans in a succinct way, stating, "In the future, the first sacrifices made by black people will be for their own freedom. After that, if we have any compassion left, we can consider sacrifices for the white man. But personally, I believe I've stopped sacrificing for him." In 1921, he further conveyed to members of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, "If you desire freedom, it's up to you to take action. You must attain your freedom through your own endeavors. You won't be considered equals until you achieve what the white man has accomplished." Subsequently, in 1917, Garvey founded a branch of the UNIA in the Harlem district of New York City. His primary focus was on fostering unity among Africans and the African diaspora, while actively campaigning against European colonial domination in Africa. and promoting the idea of political unity across the continent. He envisioned a united Africa governed as a single-party state under his leadership, dedicated to preserving the purity of the black race through legislative measures. Despite never setting foot on the continent, Garvey remained a staunch advocate of the Back to Africa movement, arguing that a portion of the diaspora should migrate there. Garvey's ideas gained significant popularity, leading to a substantial increase in UNIA membership. Later on, he started publishing the Negro World newspaper. The Negro's World carried news that spread the activities of the UNIA to many people. This helped keep the organization together and efficient. The newspaper encouraged the subscribers and let them express their ideas on various issues. If they wanted to mail in an article, it was accepted and appreciated. Soon his speeches took on an angry tone and sparked debate as he challenged the very essence of democracy in the United States. He pointedly questioned how a nation could assert its democratic principles while simultaneously perpetuating racial oppression that affected people of color across the country. His words stirred both reflection and action, pushing society to confront these deep-rooted inequalities head-on. By year 1919, Garvey and his associates established the Black Star Line Shipping Company under the umbrella of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, which had grown to include more than 4 million members by that time. The company launched the African Redemption Liberia program. The goal was to establish a nation on the west coast of Africa for black Americans, including those who had been born into slavery or were descendants of enslaved people. Marcus Garvey's belief in black separatism led to a division among prominent African American civil rights leaders. His collaboration with white racists like the Ku Klux Klan, KKK, in their mutual pursuit of racial separation further deepened this rift. Webb Du Bois, a renowned advocate for racial integration, was among those who disagreed with Garvey's approach. Believing that black people needed to be financially independent from white-dominated societies, Garvey further launched various businesses in the US, including the Negro Factories Corporation and Negro World newspaper. In the same year, 1919, he became president of the Black Star Line Shipping and Passenger Company, designed to forge a link between North America and Africa and facilitate African American migration to Liberia. Because of his outspoken activism and black nationalism, Garvey became a target of J. Edgar Hoover at the Bureau of Investigation, BOI, a precursor to the FBI. In 1923, Garvey faced a mail fraud conviction for selling the company's stock, leading to his imprisonment at the United States Penitentiary in Atlanta for nearly 2 years. Some observers have argued that the trial had political motivations. Garvey, in his defense, accused Jewish individuals of bias against him due to his alleged connections with the Ku Klux Klan. Following a reduction in his sentence by President Calvin Coolidge, Garvey was eventually deported to Jamaica in 1927. He settled in Kingston with his wife, Amy Jacques. In 1929, he established the People's Political Party, through which he intended to contest the forthcoming Legislative Council election and briefly served as a city councillor. In September 1929, Garvey addressed a gathering of 1,500 supporters, unveiling the PPP's manifesto. This manifesto included proposals for land reform benefiting tenant farmers, the inclusion of a minimum wage provision in the Constitution, commitments to establish Jamaica's first university and opera house, and a proposed law to hold corrupt judges accountable. The latter policy resulted in Garvey being charged with undermining the judiciary and eroding public confidence in it. He pleaded guilty and received a 3-month prison sentence along with a £100 fine. During his time behind bars, Garvey was removed from the Kingston Council by fellow councillors. Outraged, he penned an editorial critiquing them, which was published in the Blackman Journal. This action led to him being charged with seditious libel, and he was convicted, but later had his conviction overturned on appeal. He then ran as the PPP's candidate for the Legislative Assembly in St Andrew Parish, securing 915 votes, but losing to George Seymour Jones. Facing financial strain amid the Great Depression, Garvey turned to work as an auctioneer. He was also relying on his wife's savings to make ends meet. He remortgaged his home and personal assets. Frustrated with his life in Jamaica, Garvey decided to relocate to London. In March 1935, he embarked on a journey to London aboard the SS Tilapa. Upon arriving in London, he confided in his friend Amy Bailey, expressing that he had left Jamaica feeling utterly broken. broken in spirit, broken in health, and broken in pocket. He resolved never to return. In London, Garvey aimed to rejuvenate the UNIA, but faced fierce competition from other black activist groups in the city. To establish a new UNIA hub, he set up headquarters in Beaumont Gardens, West Kensington, and introduced a fresh monthly publication called Black Man. Garvey also resumed speaking at Speaker's Corner in Hyde Park, although his conservative views often drew criticism from socialists during public speeches. He even harboured aspirations of becoming a Member of Parliament, but these ambitions went unrealised. In 1935, the Second Italo-Ethiopian War erupted when Italy invaded Ethiopia. Initially, Garvey spoke out against the Italians and voiced support for Haile Selassie's government. However, by October of that year, he grew increasingly critical of Selassie, blaming him for Ethiopia's struggles in the war. When Selassie arrived in Britain after fleeing his homeland, Garvey was part of a group of black delegates who sought to meet him at Waterloo Station, but were rebuffed. Subsequently, Garvey openly turned hostile towards Selassie, characterizing him as a feudal monarch who looks down upon his slaves and serfs with contempt, and a great coward who ran away from his country to save his skin. This outspoken criticism of Selassie distanced Garvey from the broader black activist community, including many of his own supporters, who saw Selassie as a symbol of Ethiopia's resistance to colonialism. In June 1937, Garvey's wife and children joined him in England, where the children enrolled in schools in Kensington Gardens. Shortly after that, Garvey embarked on a lecture and fundraising tour that took him to Canada and the Caribbean, culminating in his attendance at the annual UNIA convention in Toronto. During his visit to Trinidad, he openly criticized an ongoing oil workers' strike. This stance likely strained his relationship with two influential Trinidadian Marxists residing in London, namely C.L.R. James and George Padmore. Upon his return to London, Garvey established a new family residence on Talgoth Road, which was conveniently close to UNIA's headquarters. Engaging in public debates, he frequently found himself in clashes with Padmore, who chaired the International African Service Bureau. While residing in London, Garvey maintained his prolific writing and coordinated the establishment of the School of African Philosophy in Toronto, aimed at training future leaders for the Universal Negro Improvement Association. By this time, the organization boasted over 1,000 chapters worldwide. In the summer of 1938, Garvey revisited Toronto to participate in the next UNIA conference. During Garvey's absence, his wife and sons went back to Jamaica. Doctors had advised that Garvey's son, Marcus Garvey III, needed a warmer climate to alleviate his severe rheumatism, although his wife never discussed this with him. When Garvey returned to London, he was quite upset about his wife's act. During this time, Garvey found himself increasingly isolated, and the UNIA was facing financial strain as its global membership declined. For the first time in many years, he reconnected with Ashwood, his first wife, who was also residing in London. In January 1940, Garvey suffered a stroke that left him mostly paralysed. His secretary, Daisy White, took on the responsibility of caring for him. During this time, Padmore spread rumours about Garvey's death, leading to many newspapers publishing premature obituaries in late May 1940, which Garvey himself read. According to his secretary, while reading these obituaries on the second day, Garvey suffered another severe stroke. He passed away 2 weeks later, on June 10, 1940, at the age of 52. Garvey was laid to rest in a vault within the catacombs of the chapel at St Mary's Catholic Cemetery in Kensal Green, West London. Numerous wakes and memorials were held in his honour, particularly in New York City and Kingston. In Harlem, a procession of mourners paid tribute to him at his memorial service. Some of Garvey's followers refused to accept his death, even when presented with photographs of his body in the coffin, believing it to be part of a conspiracy against his movement. Both Ashwood and Jacques claimed the title of the widow of Marcus Garvey, and Ashwood initiated legal action against Jacques in an attempt to gain control over Garvey's remains. Over the years, a significant following began to grow around Garvey's memory in Jamaica, described as a veritable cult by writer Richard Hart within a decade of his passing. By the 1950s, Jamaican politicians from various ideological backgrounds began invoking his name. Leslie Alexander, a Kingston real estate agent, advocated for the repatriation of Garvey's body to Jamaica. His campaign succeeded, and in 1964, Garvey's remains were exhumed and returned to Jamaica. His body lay in state at Holy Trinity Cathedral in Kingston, drawing thousands of visitors. On November 22, 1964, Marcus Garvey was reburied with a grand and ceremonial procession fitting for a national hero in King George VI Memorial Park. Numerous foreign diplomats attended the event. Although Marcus Garvey has passed away, his legacy lives on, particularly through the lasting impacts of his words. Also, his speeches and quotes continue to inspire and resonate with people around the world. While the grand and dignified reburial ceremony marked a significant moment in honoring his memory, it is the timeless wisdom and vision encapsulated in his quotes that ensure he will be forever remembered as a beacon of inspiration and empowerment. He famously said, "A people without the knowledge of their past history, origin, and culture is like a tree without roots." This quote emphasizes the importance of preserving one's cultural heritage and history. His quotes continue to resonate because they address universal themes of self-empowerment, cultural identity, pursuit of equality and justice, and the importance of recognizing and celebrating the achievements of Black individuals. They serve as a source of inspiration and motivation for people seeking positive change and social justice. Through all of Garvey's battles, he emerged as a beacon of hope and opportunity for a race that had long been directionless. His unwavering commitment to uplifting and unifying the Black community is nothing short of inspirational. Despite the challenges he faced, including being compelled to leave the United States, Garvey managed to orchestrate the largest Black movement in history. He has inspired every major Black movement of the 20th century, both in Africa and the Americas. Followers of Garvey's ideology include Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Minister Louis Farrakhan, Malcolm X, and Martin Luther King Jr. Also, leaders of African independent states such as Presidents Nnamdi Azikiwe, Kwame Nkrumah, Jomo Kenyatta, Nelson Mandela, Patrice Lumumba, and Julius Nyerere. His unique charisma, visionary leadership, and dedication to the empowerment of Black individuals set him apart as a one-of-a-kind figure in history. Marcus Garvey's legacy serves as a powerful reminder that there can never indeed be another like him. His impact on the world, the strength he instilled in countless individuals, and the movement he ignited will forever stand as a testament to the extraordinary potential that lies within each of us when we dare to dream and strive for positive change. There will never be another Marcus Garvey, but we hope that his remarkable legacy continues to inspire generations to come. Thanks for watching. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to hit that like button and share it with others who Garvey's story might also inspire. For more informative content and historical insights, please subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thank you once again for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you in our next video.